monsoon conditions yesterday for race one for the Honda British Talent Cup. The title could have been decided yesterday, but it's going to go down to the wire today. It was Casey O'Gorman that led from pole position and led every single lap until the end. Lucas Hill unfortunately went down on the first lap on the number 44. Rossi Bannon was making moves all the way through the pack and was up into second place until Peter Willis on the number 99 unfortunately also went down and out of the race. Lucas Brown crashed out, then Rossi Bannon crashes out of the race, out of contention for his first ever podium, and was distraught with that one. Casey O'Gorman, dominant out the front, was stretching his lead all race long. Harrison Desoy also went down at the old hairpin, but Cormac Buchanan, what a race he had, climbing all the way up from far back on the grid and made his way up into podium contention. John O'Gorman was watching from the sidelines. Casey O'Gorman took the win and took the championship lead by a point. John O'Gorman was happy with that one, and so was Casey. So the championship can be decided in this race and will be decided in this race. It's gone right down to the wire, only 1 point in it, and that any of the top three can take it. Rossi Bannon then almost picked up a podium yesterday, lines up 6th on the grid, looks very calm and composed, very focused on the number 96 machine. Harrison Crosby lines up in 5th, had a couple of podiums so far this year. He's going to be looking to pick up a good result in the final race of the year for the Honda British Talent Cup. Casey O'Gorman, though, pole position yesterday and 4th on the grid today, 59.8, just outside of the front row. Jamie Lyons, though, is going to line up on that front row, picking up a podium yesterday, and now front row for the dry race today. Very, very different conditions today, of course. Cormac Buchanan, what a ride he had yesterday. Climbed up through the field, was pushing so hard, set a quick lap, and that is why he's second place on the grid. Carter Brown then second place in the championship, 1 point between him and Casey O'Gorman, and he's on pole position to try and take that championship. It could be any of the top three. It could be Casey, it could be Carter Brown, or it could be Evan Belford. It's going to be decided. It's gone right down to the wire in this final race, and Casey O'Gorman has came from a 91-point deficit after his injury. He had picked up some arm and back injuries earlier in the season, missed 5 races, had 91 points to break, and now he's back in the championship lead, only 1 point between him and Carter Brown. Another 17 back to the number 52 of Evan Belford. Evan could still win this, but he's right far back on the grid. Myself, Tristan Finocchiaro and Neil McKenzie are going to bring you all the action for this title decider. Looking forward to this one, Neil.
Yeah, certainly am. There's nothing better when the championship goes down to the last race, certainly for the fans and the spectators. It's going to be brilliant, and it really is a two-horse race. But you know what? Carter Brown getting that fastest lap on the closing stages of yesterday's race might just be the key. He's going to have a little advantage in the first turn. He knows he has to beat Casey O'Gorman. Casey O'Gorman knows what he has to do. And of course, Evan Belford there, he might just be there to pick up the pieces. But there's all the other riders in the grid as well. They know the focus is on the championship, but they can get involved and get some good mileage out of this as well. So they're all fighting to get the final race of their season underway and also finish on a high. So it really could be anybody. It's going to be who can deal with the pressure, and that's Carter Brown and Casey O'Gorman that are certainly in the midst of that.
Now let's just take a look at how the championship can stand. Carter Brown's going to line up on that pole position ahead of Cormac Buchanan. Casey O'Gorman down in 4th. For Casey O'Gorman to win the championship here today, he's in that championship lead by 1 point. He has to beat Carter Brown if both Carter Brown and Casey O'Gorman are both in the top 6. If they finish level on points, Casey O'Gorman will take the championship victory, as he's got 7 wins to Carter Brown's 3. So if they're level on points, it's going to be whoever has the most amount of wins takes the championship. For Carter Brown to win it, he has to beat Casey as long as they're above the top 6. He has to make sure he gets ahead of Casey O'Gorman, only 1 point behind him. Evan Belford then, if Evan for Evan to be able to win this championship, he needs to win the race, and he needs Casey O'Gorman to finish 9th or lower and Carter Brown to finish 8th. And starting way back on the grid in 18th, it's going to be a tall order for Evan Belford, but anything can happen. So this title is about to be decided. These are the stars of the future. Riders aged 12 to 17 years old, and there is a championship on the line in the Honda British Talent Cup. It's gone right down to the wire. Final race, 1 point between them. Carter Brown then on pole position on the number 74. Finished 4th yesterday. O'Gorman right behind him. Belford right back on the grid in 18th. He's 3rd in the championship, 17 points behind Casey O'Gorman, who leads this championship. And their eyes are going to turn to the lights for the final time in 2021. This is the championship decider, and Carter Brown's got a good getaway. Evan Belford's looking strong off the start as well. He's trying to make up some positions. Johnny Garness has a really good start as well. O'Gorman, though, up into the lead from 4th on the grid. The perfect start to the final race of the season for Casey.
It certainly is, and what we don't know is what pace the other riders have got in these dry conditions. Of course, it was wet yesterday. Casey O'Gorman was a standout rider, and we haven't really had really dry conditions so far this weekend, so it really is anybody's race. Casey O'Gorman, I'm sure his plan is just to get away, as we saw, got the whole shot and get his head down, but he's already got company.
1 point between them on the championship, and they're glued together on circuit. It's O'Gorman from Carter Brown, Jamie Lyons in 3rd, Cormac Buchanan in 4th. Rhys Stevenson was making moves, slotting up the inside of Johnny Garness. Johnny Garness has had a good start as well. Look at Cormac Buchanan on the inside of the number 7 of Jamie Lyons. But this is about the championship now. Carter Brown's got a good drive onto that front straight. He's got a little bit more weight on him, but we know how strong those RS Racing engines are. Is he going to be able to make a move down into fog? Yes, is a little bit too far back this time round. 15 laps to go, though. These guys need to keep calm heads. 15 laps to decide the title.
Yeah, the fast-flowing part of Donington Park will suit the bigger, heavier riders, but of course this Melbourne loop section is where they stop and then squirt out the corners, and that tends to favour the smaller, lighter riders. So we'll see here if Casey O'Gorman does have an advantage. Carter Brown knows exactly what he's got to do, as you said, just bolt himself onto the back and just hope that he can find away Casey O'Gorman, away past Casey O'Gorman. If Casey disappears up the road, then it's all over.
Casey O'Gorman, who of course had that big crash back at Knockhill, forcing him to miss 5 races on the season. And when he came back, he had 91 points between him and Evan Belford, 60 between him and Carter, and now he's ahead of them both in the championship. And some nasty injuries he picked up, Neil.
He really did. He was in the washing machine at Knockhill, just in his conspicuous high side, but he ended up spending a couple of days in hospital up there. His injuries actually were less serious than first thought. Oh no.
Mounsey, that's Sullivan Mounsey that's gone out. On the iForce bike. Really unfortunate for Mounsey. Picked up his first podium back at Silverstone. So sorry to cut in there, Neil, but really unfortunate for Sullivan.
Yeah, strong rides this year from Sullivan, and yeah, 9th in the championship. Yeah, just down at Goddard's, classic crash there, if you like. It's really tough turning there. The track goes off camber. If you're too hard on the brakes, then it's easy to lose the front.
And that's the end of his season, and of course this being the final race of the Honda British Talent Cup 2021. 1 point in the championship, and these two are glued together. We really have a race on our hands here. This is exactly what we want to see. These, of course, the stars of the future, the names of the future. Casey O'Gorman has had such a difficult season, but he's come through, taken 7 wins, picked up a really good win yesterday, but Carter Brown not down and out of it at all. Both trading purple sectors. O'Gorman strong in that first sector, Carter Brown strong in the second, and also strong in the third as well. So these guys, strengths and weaknesses, 2 very different statures as well.
Very much so, and different techniques there at the Melbourne Airport. You see Casey O'Gorman going in tight, he gets that bike stopped, but Carter Brown using his corner speed, driving it round here. This is going to turn into a race of pressure. Casey O'Gorman's going to see +0 on his pit board. He'll probably know who it is as well, so he's under pressure to try and fend off Carter Brown. Carter Brown's got to match Casey O'Gorman's pace, so the tiniest mistake from any of these riders and the championship will go to the other riders, so it's quite fascinating. Jamie Lyons doing a good job there in 3rd, and as you said, Johnny Garness also got good drive pace.
Evan Belford's made up 13 positions on the grid to make his way all the way up to 5th place. Desperate for that championship, but look at Casey O'Gorman now. He's eking away that lead, and now Carter Brown can see that championship just slipping away on lap 3 of 15 for the final race of the year for the Honda British Talent Cup. And Casey O'Gorman is now pulling away. Carter Brown falling into the clutches of Jamie Lyons. Evan Belford doing everything he can, but it's not going to be enough as it stands. But of course, anything can happen. If you were in Carter Brown's situation now, you see that championship slip away, what does he have to do to keep that, keep a calm head?
I can't believe he's not riding at 100%, so there's very little he can do. Casey O'Gorman took a big chunk out of him in these first 2 sectors there. He really has pulled the pin, showed his confidence. He kept it safe for the first few laps, and maybe that's exactly what he was doing, just keeping things safe, getting tyres up to temperature, finding his rhythm, and then getting his head down and pulling the pin, because so it's difficult, but anything can happen. Casey could make a mistake, bikes can break, anything can happen, but Carter Brown just has to keep things on 2 wheels, do the very best he can. He can still finish the season as a runner-up and hold his head high.
And what maturity we've seen this year from Casey O'Gorman. I mean, he's had help from Shane Byrne this year, and I think it's really bring him on, because I mean, last year he was fighting for that championship. John O'Gorman's so tense, you can see in the corner of the screen, father to Casey O'Gorman, so tense at the side of the circuit. It's going to be a long race at the side of the circuit if you are John O'Gorman. Casey O'Gorman, fastest lap of the race last time round, but Casey, last year was fighting for that championship with the likes of Harvey Claridge and also Franco Bourne, and I think his downfall last year was just having a few too many crashes, but this year, really wise head on those shoulders.
That's right, and he had a few crashes that were unexplainable really. He looked like he was pretty confident. One at Silverstone, I know, coming through the Luffield Brooklyn section, he jumped off and it wasn't really clear what happened, but yeah, he's got another year's experience under his belt. There's no question of his class and his potential and how much talent he's got, and having Shane Byrne on board just behind the scenes, just to get his confidence up, get his psyche ready for the race and how to deal with winning the championship. And there's no better man out there in the British Superbike paddock than Shane Byrne to do that.
Right, so a reminder, Casey O'Gorman was going into this race 1 point ahead of Carter Brown. He leads him on circuit, so if it stays like this, Casey O'Gorman will be the 2021 Honda British Talent Cup champion, with Carter Brown in second, and Belford will finish third if it stays like this. But Belford has made his way up from 18th to 4th on the grid, but if he is to have a chance at this championship, he needs to win the race, and he needs Casey and Carter Brown to finish way down the order, and that doesn't look like it's going to happen here in the Honda British Talent Cup final race of the year. Casey O'Gorman looking really strung out the front, really nice smooth lines, just eking that gap, controlling the pace at the front is Casey O'Gorman. Of course, made that 91-point deficit into this round, and is from 91 points away from Evan Belford, is now 17 points ahead of him, 60 points behind Carter Brown he was, and now 1 point ahead of him, stretching that gap out at the front, the only rider in the 42s.
Yeah, it really is a fairy tale for Casey O'Gorman, especially with that early season fall and injuries and having to recover and come back and just be as strong as ever. Jamie Lyons taking a little bit of time out of Carter Brown there for second position. He took 2/10 out of him on that last lap, so he really is. He's got a good focus. Jamie Lyons, he can look at Carter Brown, he can see his pace, and yeah, there's more points there for Jamie Lyons if he can close that gap.
And that is the lap record currently for Casey O'Gorman, a 1:42.691. Smashed it by almost a second. Charlie Farrow was the current holder of that. Farrow, who's moved up to the Junior Superstock category and as part of the Appleyard Macadam Academy on his R6, and picked up some good results this year. But now Jamie Lyons right on the rear wheel of the number 74 of Carter Brown. Carter Brown needs to keep a cool head, but it's 2.7 seconds now out the front. That championship is slipping away, and Jamie Lyons is now right on his rear wheel. So number 74 falling into the clutches of the number 7. Are we going to see a change for this second place? Lyons isn't going to care about the championship. He's just going to be thinking about his own race.
Not one bit. Yeah, if you can finish runner-up to Casey O'Gorman today, then you've had a good day here at Donington Park. Yeah, Casey Gorman looking immaculate there at the front, and the undisputed champion, if he can win this race, break the lap record like he's done, and bring it home. So yeah, and it's nice to say, it's nice to underline that no one likes hollow victories. So Casey Gorman just showing his class, and it's great to see what we've got here in store for the future in the world of road racing with Casey Gorman.
And another lap record, back-to-back lap records, very similar pace as well. 2 142.6s back-to-back for Casey O'Gorman. That lap record's going out the window here this weekend for the final round of the Honda British Talent Cup 2021. And he's 0.9 of a second quicker than that old lap record, putting the pace down. Unfortunately, number 34 has entered the pits, so that's really unfortunate, not the way that they would have wanted to end their season at all. So really unfortunate. I think is that James Cook that's gone out? It is, yeah, James Cook, unfortunately, not the end to his season. Had a big crash back at Silverstone. Pretty much wrote the bike off and had to put such an effort to get a big parts bill to get that bike back up and running. Yeah, massive effort. That was during the MotoGP weekend at Silverstone. He had an absolute nightmare, but yeah, good to see that he made it back into the championship and at least finishing the season. Yeah, and that was really nice to see as well. He set up a GoFundMe page, and a lot of his competitors actually contributed to fixing his bike. So it's really nice to see such a lovely paddock here in the Honda British Talent Cup. They're all helping each other out at the same time. Once they get on circuit, it all changes. Now Casey O'Gorman, so consistent out the front. No purple sectors on this lap, so perhaps just calming it down a little bit. Doesn't need to do anything rash. Would hate to see him throw the championship away leading out the front. So he's setting good consistent pace out the front, consistently quicker than anyone else. And Carter Brown's just watching this slip away. This is going to be one of the longest races of his life, and for Casey this is going to be the longest race of his life, just staring at nothingness in front of him.
Yeah. But yeah, just has to keep his focus. I'm sure Shane's kept him right with that. Hit your spots, hit your apexes, keep your rhythm going. His lap times are immaculate at the moment. He's got 3.4 second lead, so well in control. He'll be watching his pit board. The number 7, Jamie Lyons, there having a look round now and again, but there is nothing behind him. He can tell, he can see that from his pit board, so he just has to keep the focus on Carter Brown. Have a go at maybe grabbing that second position, but Carter Brown will be focused, and he won't be giving that up too easily, although he is a little bit wide there at McLean's. That's cost him some time. That's helped Jamie Lyons. He's going to get a nice slipstream here as a head up to Coppice. In through this double apex right-hander, get back on the throttle, build your corner speed, get tucked in.
The number 55 of Harrison Desoy ends his 2021 championship in pit lane. Unfortunately crashed out of the race yesterday, and possibly some technical gremlins haunting him from that crash yesterday, and doesn't finish the final race of the year. This battle for second now brewing really nicely. Lyons just studying Carter Brown, seeing where he can make a move past. He's got plenty of time to be able to do it. No one behind him. A nice big gap between Lyons and Belford. Belford's out of the championship, and that was a big moment there.
It was tucked to front there, I think, for the number 74 Carter Brown. That is he's got a different line there where he uses the corner speed, tries to build corner speed, but on the edge of the tyre there, he's just pushing the front a little bit too hard. No problem, landed on his knee. Might get a look at that again. Middle of this corner, you see the front just tucking. He's an off-roader, so he's got plenty of feel going on, so I'd like to think that he got that back purely on skill. But yeah, that just shows you how hard he's pushing, absolutely on the limit. But at the moment, no answer for Casey. Casey has backed off the pace a little bit here. He was setting lap records there, but he's into the 43, so like you said before, very much controlling the race.
Yeah, wise. Oh, and that's is that Cunningham again that's gone down? It is JJ Cunningham. That's a really unfortunate weekend for him. Was looking so strong yesterday, but unfortunately crashed on the exit of Melbourne, so not the end to his 2021 Talent Cup campaign that he would have wanted at all. And that's a leg out for let's have a look back at this crash.
Yeah, a bit of contact there. Unfortunately.
Oh, that's a nasty hit.
Yeah.
That is not the end to his season he will have wanted. Really unfortunate for him. Well, not a lot of runoff there for him to be able to jump off the bike.
It was an unusual one there, but yeah, perfectly okay. The barrier took the impact there, nice and soft, but yeah.
Luckily, he's up and okay and relatively unscathed. I'm sure he'll be feeling that one in the morning. But if all stays the same, Casey O'Gorman will be feeling absolute elation tomorrow morning if it stays like this. A big moment we saw for Carter Brown earlier on, but now it's all to do with that championship. Now, Carter Brown needs to be careful as well, because he can potentially, we saw him have a moment earlier on, if he throws this down the road, he could potentially lose second in the championship with Belford. Belford was fourth earlier on, so if Belford was promoted to third, 16 points that Brown has ahead of Belford, they would be level on points, and I'm pretty sure that would go the way of Belford, because he's had more podiums than the number 74 of Carter Brown. So he needs to make sure now, his only focus now needs to be finishing this race. It's going to be a tall order to catch Casey O'Gorman. We don't think that's going to happen, so he needs to make sure he pretty much stays on second or third. It doesn't really make a big difference.
No, but being teammates, they want to be the best in the team. There's three in that team: Carter Brown, Evan Belford and Johnny Garnes. So they really want to be the best of the rest, if you like, and certainly beat their teammates, because of course same team, same bikes, equal equipment. Jamie Lyons coming up through Swansea's on the last lap, stuck his leg out momentarily, and I'm not sure what that was about.
And again.
He's done it again. What is that? What is going on there?
He definitely hasn't lost the foot brake, because you can see him putting pressure through it there.
Yeah, it's not slipping off, he's just taking it off. But in other corners, he's got both feet off the pegs on the brake, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Very, very, very unusual, very strange. But
a loss of grip on the bottom of his boot, maybe, and then catching the wind, it's just flying off. But clutching at straws there, really. Not really sure what's going on there.
Unusual, that one.
Casey O'Gorman then, so consistent out the front, controlling this race. Oh, 29, Lucas Brown's gone down, the reigning MKGP70 Fab Racing mini bike champion. Unfortunately, down and out of this race. Crashed yesterday, crashed today. Not the end to his season that he will have wanted at all. So unfortunate for the reigning Fab Racing champion, and the championship. But that will be decided next weekend at Clandau as well. But our focus is on who's going to win this Honda British Challenge Cup Championship. It looks as if it's going to go the way of Casey O'Gorman, and a big moment there for the number 74. And lost a lot of time there, Jamie Lyons. No, Carter went in considerably quicker. Perhaps has he got some issues here, Jamie?
Yeah,
he's got...
yeah, obviously the leg thing, he definitely has 2 laps in a row, but why does it up Brown? Maybe he's got cramp, maybe he's got some kind of cramp going on, maybe that's what's affecting him.
It can be a difficult circuit with such hard braking, but not Evan Belford, that's Johnny Garnes, who makes a move on the number 24 of Cormac Buchanan, but Cormac Buchanan a lot stronger on the brakes. So with that lightweight advantage, Garnes got him down the straight, but Buchanan, with a little bit more weight down him, is a bit stronger on the brakes and manages to get underneath Johnny Garnes. Now Evan Belford, though, up to 4th. All he needs to do is sit there and hope that something happens to Carter Brown, and it might be him second in the championship. But either way, he's in that top 3. He's safe and sound for a top 3 finish in the Honda British Tank Cup Championship. Looked as if it was going to go his way a few rounds ago. He had a 91-point lead ahead of Casey O'Gorman, who was down in about 5th in the championship. Casey O'Gorman's put 7 wins in this season, 9 podiums, 1 fastest lap. Hasn't finished lower than second up until Silverstone. Had a bad weekend at Silverstone, but now has really reeled in the points, and now is looking solid for this championship victory. Evan Belford now leading this group in 4th. Johnny Garnes having a little look at Cormac Buchanan at Foggy S's. Can't quite get the better of Cormac on the brakes.
Yeah, he closed up a little bit there, and of course the little guys, where they're the smaller and maybe not as strong, but they've got less weight to stop, so that can work okay if you've got plenty of brake pressure there and you're confident on the brakes and you've got the bike set up properly. So there's no reason why he can't be stronger on the brakes, or as strong as Cormac Buchanan on the brakes.
These are the stars of the future. Dorna and MSV are nurturing these young riders to become the British stars of the future. It's been announced that no rider will graduate this year to the Junior World Championship. That gives them a chance to focus on Eddie O'Shea, who graduated last year, had his learning year this year. Really big step. A lot of these guys also racing over in the European Talent Cup, and none of them have scored a point, so it's a big step up to there. But Dorna making strategical decisions to properly nurture these young riders, and it's brilliant to see.
And time is what they need, and they've got time on their side, so that's fine. Eddie O'Shea both in the Junior World Championship and the Red Bull Rookies MotoGP Cup, and he's back there for a second year because they can see that these kids need time. They're not going to put them in there, put them under pressure to perform and then kick them out. So they will give them time, and that's how it works in Spain and Italy. So it should be the same for the Brits, and the young kids here, some 13, 14 years old, so they've got plenty of time.
So all these riders on that road to MotoGP. Will we see the likes of Casey O'Gorman, Carter Brown in MotoGP one day? There's battles all the way through this field. Julian Carrera on the number 40 going way wide. And is that something flapping off the side of his bike there, or is that just a trick of the light? It looks as if there is something can't quite tell there. There's definitely something.
He's using an awful lot of track and a little bit more there. I'm glad that green was concrete and not grass, but yeah, wide lines.
Yeah, and the number 41 as well down there, Luca Hopkins battling out with Julian Correa, who picked up his first top 10 in the Honda British Talent Cup yesterday in 10th. Has joined us halfway through the season, the American rider, and now battling it out here for 14th. Hasn't finished outside the points since he's come to the Honda British Talent Cup, so perhaps a prospect for next year. Microlise Cresswell already have their sights on him, but look at the number 44 of Lucas Hill trying to get 3 in 1 down at the Foggy S's. It's not going to make that one stick. Now Luca Hopkins, who's leading this one just ahead of the number 20 of Mike Down. Mike Down, Dutch rider, first weekend in the Honda British Talent Cup this year, and he's making a move down at the Melbourne Loop. Can't make a move stick there. Casey O'Gorman then flying out the front, 4.8 seconds ahead of Carter Brown and Jamie Lyons. Carter Brown is now gapping Jamie Lyons. We're thinking there's possibly some problems there because his lap times have dropped off by a second a lap, so possibly some cramp or something going on there. We saw his leg just coming off the side of the bike, just losing. As you can see, he's lost considerable amount of time from Carter Brown. So these top 3 pretty much consolidated. Evan Belford doing all he can to stay in this championship fight, but it's not enough.
Not enough, and 3 laps to go, so Jamie Lyons has to be careful with his podium position. Not quite sure, as you said, what is going on there. Some variety of lines there going through Coppice, all of these guys talking to one another. We've got Evan Belford now in front of Johnny Garness, so he's telling him to tuck in, but yeah, positions are positions, so I'm not sure anyone's going to pay any attention. But Jamie Lyons, it really is fascinating, but he has to be careful because he's going to come under pressure from these guys.
Garness has made it very, very clear that he's not thinking about that championship anymore. He's just taking it race by race and focusing on British Talent Cup 2022. He's picked up a couple of wins so far this year, 2 wins, 8 podiums and 3 pole positions for the number 57 of Johnny Garness, and now battling for that 4th place with Evan Belford. Cormac Buchanan in there, who picked up a brilliant 2nd place yesterday, a brilliant ride from him to climb through the field, and was setting a really hot pace right at the end. Bridged a massive gap to the podium contention, but now have a look at Johnny Garness. He's got that lightweight advantage down the front straight, but not strong enough on the brakes to compete with the likes of Evan Belford. You can see Evan Belford just pull away through Redgate.
Jamie Lyons sort of recovered to some degree. His lap time on that last lap was pretty much the same as Carter Brown, and just a little bit slower than Evan Belford, so they haven't taken any time out of him. 3 laps to go, so it really is really anybody's race in this bunch.
Evan Belford leads this battle for 4th place then, and Casey O'Gorman leading the race. 1 point between it in the championship going into this race, and if it finishes like this, Casey O'Gorman will be your 2021 British Talent Cup champion, and he's 5.6 seconds up the road from Carter Brown, with Carter Brown a good way up the road from Jamie Lyons as well. But this battle for 4th is brewing. Really, all these guys want to finish their season on a high, but what a season Casey O'Gorman's had. Come back from injury, looked so strong, 7 wins this season. It's gonna make it 8 if it stays like this. Had that big injury back at Knockhill, had 91 points between him and Evan Belford, and now he's back into the lead of this championship. And if it does go the way of Casey O'Gorman, you have to say it's a deserved win for Casey.
Very much so, and he's got this result on lap 4 and lap 5. That's when he dug in, he kept things settled, got that whole all-important hole shot, kept things settled. Lap 4 and lap 5, broke the lap record on both occasions, then he had the gap, and after that it's been pretty much managing the race, keeping his eye on his pit board. He's obviously got the pace, got the confidence, ticking all the boxes today.
This battle for 4th now brewing really nicely. Johnny Garness able to just follow Evan Belford, study his line, study his braking points, see where he's strong, where he's weak, and see where he can try and make a move stick on the number 52. It's between these 2 RS racing riders to see who's going to pick up the final 4th place of the year in the Honda British Talent Cup. The top 3 are strung out quite a bit and look comfortable to pick up their podium positions, and just a little bit of track limits there for 52. Evan Belford, we saw that earlier in the race, needs to be careful.
He has to be careful, he can't do that too many times, he might be looking at penalties. He's obviously pushing hard, and you can see Johnny Garness has closed the gap. lap rider coming into view there. That is the number 71 of Daniel Goodman, Islington Colliery. That's an MLab Vision Track Academy rider.
Garness has got caught by, unfortunately, by Goodman. Goodman just about manages to move out the way, but it was a little bit too late for Garness. Garness shakes his head as he goes down the back straight. Not happy with that, but with his lightweight advantage, he's able to get right on the back wheel of Evan Belford like nothing happened.
Not at all. He's regained that disadvantage. I'm sure he's got a plan. I'm sure he's got a plan, yeah, Cormac Buchanan there. Gesticulating to Rhys Stevenson, just follow him. He might have a chance of catching the two RS Racing City lifting machines, but it's pretty strung out at this point. Wow, again, using all the tracking a little bit more there, Evan Belford.
Lucky there's grass on the exit of Melbourne Loop, not green, so he cannot exceed track limits there and gain any advantage. But is that a problem now for Evan Belford? It was a big crash for the number 24, Cormac Buchanan, crashes out of the race. It all started with that moment from Evan Belford. Evan missed a gear or something there, and that just unfortunately caused chaos, and Cormac Buchanan is down and out of the race. Had a brilliant race yesterday, but it's not going to be today.
That was weird, yeah. It just looked like Evan Belford.
Let's see.
I don't know, he's like in neutral, and yeah,
it's nothing to do with Evan.
Well, I don't know, it might unsettle him. He's obviously in his vision and saw a bike coming towards him fast, and then, I don't know, maybe just changed line. It just kind of unsettled him, but
Yellow flags through Goddard's now then, but it's not going to affect your race leader, championship leader. Half a lap to go, and he is going to be crowned the 2021 Honda British Talent Cup champion. And what a championship it's been from him. Like we've said so many times in this race, came back from 91 points. Big injuries earlier in the season, has ridden so well. The 14-year-old Irish family, but living in London, was 5th in the British Talent Cup last year, and just 2 more corners to go for Casey O'Gorman. Has a look around. You can almost see the smile on his face through his visor. Look at John O'Gorman at the side of the circuit. This is going to be a big moment for the O'Gorman family. Comes through the final corner of the final race for the final time, and it's going to be the number 67, Casey O'Gorman. What a season for him. It looked as if it was all over, and he is your 2021 Honda British Talent Cup champion, and John O'Gorman is happy with that one. Carter Brown comes across the line in second in the championship for him. A good podium for Jamie Lyons. Evan Belford just beats Johnny Garness, and that is your champion decided. Just look at John O'Gorman. He's so happy with that one. He was in absolute jubilation earlier on in the season when the race got cancelled at Thruxton. They put another race onto Donington, which when, of course, Casey was going to come back. Casey O'Gorman, your British Talent Cup champion for 2021, race winner and champion.
And did that in style, yeah. And big congratulations to John Cresswell for the Cresswell Microlise Racing outfit. He's put a lot of time and effort in over the years, so really nice to see his beautiful machine winning the Honda British Talent Cup Championship.
And he's delighted with that one. What a race from him. And that is it. There it is, confirmed. Casey O'Gorman, from that big deficit, missed 5 races, 8 wins this season, missed 5 races, but he is your champion. What a ride from Casey in that one. Blew away at the front, and of course got the lap record as well that was held by Charlie Farrer. Beat it by almost a second. Rossi Banham had a decent race there yesterday, and not quite the race he would have wanted today though, but there it is, your champion, Casey O'Gorman. Carter Brown will pick up second in the championship. Evan Belford, it could have gone any way of 3, but it was Casey that was leading into this race, and it's Casey that leads at the end.
It certainly could, and he had to deal with the pressure. He had to make that start, which he did. He wasn't on pole position. Got in there first, and then after that let things settle down. As I said, dug in big time in the 4th and 5th lap, a couple of lap records, got control of the race. I mean, what a mature ride from the 14-year-old to do that under all of that pressure. And Carter Brown wasn't giving up, he was with him, but he knew he had to pass him, he had to put some time into him, he at least had to be with him. But Yeah, Casey just had the full package today, but no disrespect to any of his other riders. They've had amazing seasons. I think we've had 5 winners in this class this year, many podium finishers, and lots of riders coming to the fore, and we've got a massive pool of talent for the future. And his wheelies have come on immensely, and that is the best one I've seen all season. So good to see Casey getting the hang of that as well.
Well, that's the main thing, isn't it? He's had plenty of time to be able to practice it, and now he, like you say, perfecting those wheelies, and it will be good to see what he does in the future. Confirmed then, Casey O'Gorman, your Honda British Talent Cup champion for 2021, takes the final race win of the year ahead of Carter Brown, who finishes second in the championship. Another podium for Jamie Lyons. Evan Belford, third in the championship, fourth in the race, just beats his teammate Johnny Garness. Reece Stevenson really come on at the end of this season, put in some good top 5 finishes right at the end ahead of Stuart Campbell, Crosby, Rossi Banham and Harley McCabe. The rest of them then, Keanu Via again just finishes outside the top 10. The Dutch rider ahead of Corey Tinker, who's been riding out in the European Talent Cup. Luca Hopkins, Ryan Hitchcock coming back from that wrist injury, and Lucas Hill rounds out your top 15 in the final race of the year. Casey O'Gorman, the number 67. From that number from Shaky Byrne, and now he is your Honda British Talent Cup champion by only 6 points ahead of Carter Brown. Evan Belford was leading the championship, finishes the year in third, ahead of Jamie Lyons, Johnny Garness, James Cook, Crosby Walker, Sullivan Mounsey in 9th, and Keanu Via out the top 10. Cormac Buchanan in 11th, ahead of Stuart Campbell, Reece Stevenson, Troy Jeffrey, and Ryan Hitchcock. Good year from him despite injury. Rolls into pit lane, then congratulated by the number 7 of Jamie Lyons, and those two, and also congratulated by Carter Brown. That is brilliant to see. Those two championship rivals still happy. A brilliant year from the both of them. They can both be happy with it. Evan Belford in the background in Park Ferme, 4th in the race, but 3rd in the championship. And all these guys hugging it out and celebrating what a brilliant year it's been in the Honda British Talent Cup. It's really been a pleasure to watch and a pleasure to see all these riders learning all the time, being nurtured by the likes of Dorna and MSVR this year in the Honda British Talent Cup, and all these guys done so well all year round. There's Shaky Byrne just taking the helmet off of Casey. Of course, Shaky mentor to Casey O'Gorman this season, and it's definitely helped him. He's been real mature this year. Not as many crashes, nowhere near as many crashes this year we saw last year, and he is, let's confirm then, he is the champion.
Casey O'Gorman, you did it. You are the 2021 Honda British Talent Cup champion, and you did it in style out there in the second race at Donington Park. Sum up your emotions for me at this moment in time.
Oh, it's amazing. From being lying in a hospital bed and not kill, and now I've won the championship, is amazing. On the first few laps, I wasn't gapping them, and then it just jumped up to 2 seconds, and then I just held the gap from there.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that. For people who don't know, you had a bit of a big moment at Knockhill, which we thought possibly was going to end your season. You obviously didn't think that was the case. Was there ever a moment in the season where you thought you weren't going to become the champion here today?
No.
What gives you that winning mindset, that desire to succeed, that will to win?
Every race winning gives me more confidence, and that just helps.
And what was the race plan going out there today? Because you know you only had 1 point lead over Carter Brown heading into today. So it was a high pressure race, wasn't it?
Yeah, I just said it from the beginning, and I want to thank the team for Michael Eyes Creswell Racing for giving me the bike to do that.
Well, Casey O'Gorman, you are our champion. Awesome season for you, awesome result here today. Congratulations, go and enjoy this win with your team.
Thank you.
Yeah, it is a little bit more difficult to start at an earlier age. Most of the riders, myself included, start with motocross because you can do that
never a doubt in the mind of Casey O'Gorman as to whether he was going to win this Honda British Talent Cup. Rachel asked him, did he ever think it was down and out when he was lying in hospital with those injuries, missed 5 races? His answer was simple, it was no. He was never a doubt in his mind, and deservedly so. He comes back and wins the Honda British Talent Cup Championship. He was 91 points behind when he came back from injury, missed 5 races, could have been 6 if the Thruxton race wasn't cancelled and moved to the Donington Park round, Nationals round earlier in the year. Jamie Lyons then picks up another podium on his season, another brilliant podium for the Irishman, ahead, behind the number 74 of Carter Brown, who picks up another podium on his season as well. Second in the championship for Carter Brown, but first in the championship for Casey O'Gorman, and the Microlise Cresswell boys are all happy with that one, all clapping on your champion. Scott Ogden is handing out the trophies for the race podium here. Of course, Scott Ogden, graduate from the Honda British Talent Cup and confirmed for a Moto3 ride out at the World Championship next year with the new Michael Laverty Vision Track team. Has had a good year, the first rider in a long time to win a race out of the Junior World Championship this year as well. So one of the prospects for the future, and another prospect for the future is your race winner and champion, Casey O'Gorman.
They celebrate their thanks to Scott Ogden. Was it as difficult as this when you used to race, Scott?
No, it's more difficult handing out the trophies than racing, I think. I'm in one place and then another, so yeah, it's quite difficult doing all these things this weekend, and it's very cold coming back from Spain, so yeah, but it's nice to be back. These kids are really fast, and I can't wait to see what they get up to in Europe.
O'Gorman in the perfect spot then, in the middle. Can stay there because next up will be the championship podium, and it doesn't have to move an inch because he won the race and he's won the championship. 8 wins this season for Casey O'Gorman, and wins the final race. What a way to win the championship, by winning the final race of the year for Casey O'Gorman. He's had 8 wins and up to 10 podiums, a fastest lap in 2 fastest laps this year, sets the lap record as well. So it's a brilliant day for Casey, and the Microlise Cresswell team all happy with that one. They've picked up a championship victory in the British Talent Cup. There's Ash Barnes there, one of the Junior Supersport Championship contenders, and Clayton Edmonds there on the multicoloured leathers, one of the Fab Racing Mini Bike British Championship graduates, leading the Mini GP 50 Championship, and he can win that next weekend, and he's looking to the future. Evan Belford then, 3rd in the championship, was leading it halfway through. Unfortunately had a bit of a bad spell mid-season. Could have been his year, but Carter Brown gets the better of his teammate, and he is 2nd in the championship for 2021. He's just been on that step, back on the step again. He's used to being up there. Casey O'Gorman, your Honda British Talent Cup champion. All his rivals watching from the sidelines, and what a year it has been for Casey O'Gorman. Alex Baldolini now handing out the medals for the Honda British Talent Cup. Of course, Alex Baldolini, one of the rider coaches assigned by Dorna to help these riders. They have one-to-ones every weekend, every day of the weekend, to help them with their riding. Of course, Dorna nurturing these riders all the way through, and they've nurtured Casey O'Gorman to another championship victory.
And the team award also goes to the Microlise Cresswell squad, as well as one of the most important
Championship trophy then for Casey O'Gorman. He looks delighted with that one. It's the heaviest trophy he will have lifted this year, and one for the team as well. So there he is. He's earned that trophy. 8 wins this season and the championship victory. Nothing in there. He's having a look to see if he can drink anything out of it. Brilliant season for Casey. Tensions were high as they went into the final race of the weekend for the Honda British Talent Cup. Just 1 point between the number 67, the orange bike, who led away into turn 1. 1 point between him and Carter Brown. The top 3 could have won the championship going into this season, but it was Casey O'Gorman that took it. Sullivan Mounsey unfortunately crashed out at Goddard's. Not the end of the season he would have wanted. O'Gorman flew away at the front, set the lap record, went on to win the race and the championship. A moment halfway through the race could have been curtains for Carter Brown, and a big crash for JJ Cunningham. Unfortunately, Lucas Brown also crashing out of the race. Big crash as well for the number 24 of Cormac Buchanan. Unfortunate ends to his campaign, of course, also riding in the Red Bull Rookies. But your Honda British Talent Cup champion crosses the line, sees the finish line for the last time. John O'Gorman so tense on the sidelines, but Casey O'Gorman, your 2021 Talent Cup champion.